Okay, welcome everybody to our Divergent discussion. I'm Michelle. I'm the founder of Kaboose. Kaboose is a community and learning platform created for and with neurodivergent individuals. And we help organizations and people work better together by bridging the understanding between the different thinking styles. So that's very exciting because we've just launched our Neuro Nuggets. So expert-led, human-centered microlearning, aiming to build awareness, confidence, and practical inclusion strategies for the workplace. So, just a reminder, we are recording this discussion so that you can watch it on replay or for those who aren't able to join us live. And I am joined by Mike Meyer. Mike is the founder of and the author of Weird is the New Normal. Thank
There
you,
it is.
Mike. With the prop, The Unlikely Path of Leadership. And it's a great book. So, Mike, with over 30 years of experience in technology, business, and leadership, Mike champions what he calls digital at heart leadership, helping people stay human in an increasingly digital world. Very important. Mike is a proud neurodivergent thinker living with autism, OCD, and chronic health conditions that have shaped his resilience, creativity, and empathy. Through his work, writing, and speaking, he encourages others to embrace their uniqueness and turn lived experience into insight and strength. When he's not working, Mike can be found volunteering as a motorsport chaplain, building cars or Lego. I'm sure we'll see some Lego soon, and experimenting with design projects like his tiny home build. That's something I did not know, so I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm very fortunate to have met Mike through the community app, Kaboose, and Mike is a regular at our Hangouts, and we've been able to share lots of interesting stories, and Mike was kind enough to send me a copy of his book several months ago now. So thank you very much, Mike, for joining us.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So obviously from that bio, your journey hasn't been a straight line. So tell us maybe a bit more about how your traits have shaped the way you learn and also how you lead.
It's quite a curious journey. I've been a person that grew up in a household of neurodiverse people. And so, you know what happens when you've got that around you is that no one knows anything's different. And it's not to that point that you get to when you say that high school years when everything that sort of worked didn't.
Yeah.
And so then you start to realize, oh, hang on a minute, something's different here. And you start to go through that journey of experimentation and being more curious. And it goes through those times as well of bullying. And that's a fairly significant moment when that happens. I was awfully bullied, beaten up, all kinds of different things. And where I would express my unique self in the classroom,
Yeah.
I would be belittled for it. So I
Mm.
might sit there with a Lego model. This is one of my cool Lego models. And I might just be, had been just sitting there, with a spacecraft flying around.
Mm.
And gosh, did the class come down on me for that. Wow. And so that just gives you a bit of a picture of how early childhood in different ways. Yet at the same time, growing up in that kind of family as well also shows you where my parents, who didn't understand this either, and my grandparents, to the same degree that we do now, it's amazing. And so with that, though, they had some insights to share as well. And
Yeah.
curiosity for me has always been there. I've been one of those people that asks why. Why? Why? Who else has ever had that person around and you go, why? Why? And it feels like you never get enough whys. And that's that natural curiosity in us really coming forward. It's just tremendous in that sense of things. Yet it's also one of those things that also trips us up because we can go overboard with that. And I had my father one day come down to me. I would have been about 12 at the time, very gently grabbed me by the shoulder and goes, Mike, I just need you to follow me and just trust me right now and just do what I need you to do. And this is just one of those moments where I want you to hear me say, I just need you to trust me and do this, please, without asking why. And so that was one of those beautiful moments between a father and a son. I didn't understand it at all when I was 12, but I took him at it. That's what a good child does. I wasn't that rebellious at that stage, rebellious enough, I'm sure. Yet it also started to show me in different ways where there's moments where it's not so easy. Didn't make a lot of sense at the time, but they are definitely those memories I look back on now and
Mm.
go, they were quite influential. Yet that's a fairly consistent theme throughout my entire life because everything has been like bonkers crazy in my life. I don't even know how I'm alive in some regards. So I've nearly broken my neck mountain bike riding, pretty much did. I have a matrix plug on the back of my neck. My wife calls it. It's delightful, lovely
Oh,
big scar right there from where I've had spinal cord surgery.
gosh.
And I've been in more crashes than you can poke a stick at, more back issues than you can poke a stick at. So bad that I had to lose a lot of weight, had to have some specialized surgery to help reduce that weight so that the pressure would come off the nerves. And that creates even more problems that you have to manage every day, having had that happen.
Mm.
So no day for me and my entire life has been the same, pretty much ever.
Mm.
And it is truly awful. But in the sense that the autisticness in me wants to go, how come it can't have that routine and how come we can't do that? And so going through that, you've kind of got with your ADHD and the autism at the same time, this strange balance that happens.
Yeah,
And this is where I started to notice, hang on a minute, you can actually use these with each other and go, oh,
you
hang on a
can.
minute, something here. And so for myself, it didn't take me long as a young adult to realize that I see data everywhere.
Mm.
I see patterns. So someone can give me a data set, a spreadsheet, and I go, oh yeah, can't you see it? It's right there. And in split second, it's right there.
Amazing.
And to that end, I've always been one of those person that has always been inquisitive, looking for those different things. And then you're making mistakes all the time. I think when you're curious, you just absolutely love to have a go.
Mm.
And there's something in you that's just got to go, I'm willing to have a go. And you make so many mistakes along the way. Yet I've always looked at it myself and gone, if I don't take a step forward, I haven't made any steps
Mm.
forward.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I'm only ever holding myself back if I don't try.
That's true. Yeah.
And so, I've been fired twice when I was in my early 20s. And in one of those circumstances, it was challenging for my manager to even be able to tell me what was wrong, but he just
Mm.
wasn't happy with my performance. On the second one, the manager was really great. He could tell me what was wrong, and it was great. And eventually got to a point where I was unable to fix some of those things.
Mm.
And I also went through this really strange learning experience because they said that I was a poor communicator. That was curious. So,
Yeah.
how do you fix that? So, in my toolbox, it was pretty limited. So, I went to
Yeah.
TAFE at 21 and did a night course on a Certificate 3 of Communications. And I spent most of my time in that entire course teaching people of other countries all about Aussie things. And it turns out that I didn't really have a problem with communicating.
No.
The issue was, though, that my capacity to communicate in that social world was what the real issue was. And it wasn't until I got through that went, hang on a minute, Mike, you're great at technically communicating,
Mm.
yet you've got this big struggle in other areas.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's the whole leaning into the skills starting to come to life for me and starting that in my early life.
Mm.
And it's just
Mm.
become an absolute theme ever since.
Yeah. Interesting. I think so much of that resonated with me just then. The whole asking why. I do remember, or actually, I don't remember. It's a story, a fable about my childhood of where I would continue to ask why and drive my parents crazy. And I'm not sure my dad was quite the same style of communicator as yours, Mike, but I am told the story that, it
Yeah,
was
we're a
piped
really
down.
direct communicator in our family. And so you can come across my father, nearly anyone, and a spade is a spade, a brick is a brick.
Correct.
And so when my wife and I got married, my wife in her family didn't communicate that way. So I would say
Yeah.
something really directly to her, and she would think
Mm.
something else of it.
Yeah.
And be a
Interesting.
little bit
Yeah.
off balance, not sure what was going on. And she'd come and go, Mike, did you mean that in plain language or you were trying to say this? No, I literally
Mm.
meant that. That was the
Yeah.
thing that I was direct about. And
Yeah.
so we're very big proponents of communicating directly and clearly
Mm,
because it does help us move to that place of not second guessing each other and building a sympathy or an empathy with each other to
mm,
say, ask clarifying questions. And it's okay.
yeah.
And it's
Be
totally
curious.
great. Be curious. I love that phrase, just be curious. And that's a great skill that we have. And that skill is what serves us. We lean into that skill and
Mm,
then use that in powerful ways.
yeah. I really do think that being curious, particularly with communication, I always thought I was a great communicator too, Mike. And I think I'm a pretty good communicator, but I still think there's some nuances there that, either it's the directness or, I guess, just missing, things from time to time, or even ruminating on things,
Mm.
sometimes that, when you think about communication, it's such a complex thing, really,
Well, that's
rather
one of the
than
really
just,
difficult things we have. Rumination is a big problem for me.
mm,
And with
me
my
too.
OCD, I'm just like,
Mm,
and the thing is, though, this is where I get into the idea of, you tell yourself the truth.
yes.
What is the
Yes.
truth of what's going on? And so, is my peace being disrupted? Is anything going to actually change in 3 hours to what it is now? And if it does, is it good or bad?
Mm,
You'd be surprised what the answers are.
yeah. It's so true. I like that. Tell yourself the truth. It's great. It's great. In the bio, we just introduced you as a digital at heart leader. What does that mean? And, how does it
Well,
connect to this neurodivergence?
well, digital at heart as a leadership type, if you will, is where it comes from. And it's something that I've been developing as a concept within in my business and my consulting and when I'm mentoring and guiding people. And it's a way of describing a type of skill set.
Mm,
And it's the skill set that merges three kinds of worlds together. You've got a very operational world, it's very physical and tactile. You've got a human resources centric based world. And so for a lot of people, that's what they see in their leadership and management. It's kind of those two
mm,
things work together. And I say, well, let's add a third. Let's add a digital and empathetic level to that. Now, when I say digital, though, I am saying something slightly different. I'm not saying tech
yeah. Okay.
necessarily. What
Right.
I'm saying is that our world is now influenced and driven by an invisible force.
Mm,
And that invisible force is all things digital. And the
yeah.
difficulty with it is there's physical manifestations of it, i.e., we have a device in our hand.
Mm, hmm.
We can hold things that manifest the digital, but the digital itself is invisible. And it's
Yes.
surprisingly unpredictable. Getting to the laws of large numbers, and you think that a one or a zero could just be predictable, they can't be. That's another conversation for another day.
Yes.
Yet,
Yeah. That's right.
as a leader, we've got to be able to, work on all those three things.
Mm,
And so there's another invisible force, though, which I introduce into this equation, which is a hallmark of this digital age. And so that hallmark is, again, invisible. And that is being human centric. So where I mentioned HR before, that was more the management of people.
yes.
Yet there's something invisible that goes on. You see in me right now the physical manifestation of Mike, but you can't see what's going on up here.
No,
And that's not too dissimilar to what goes on behind our screens.
that's true.
And so there's all this world behind the screen and behind us, and it's chaotic, it's unpredictable. And the great
Hmm.
thing is, humans are amazing
Mm,
because we have this wonderful thing to be curious, learn, and grow. It's almost like we've almost got an infinite capacity to learn.
you
And
have to lean
what's
into it,
great
though,
about
right?
neurodiversity is you've got those extra synapses. So master it. Set
Yep.
yourself up to be the future version of yourself that you want.
Mm,
What's the best version of my future self going to be?
mm,
So, when we first met, I mentioned that I don't wear a lot of labels because there's too
yes.
many.
Yep.
Yet there's one thing I always wear. I am me.
Yes. Yep.
And
Great.
of all the things that we do is that manifestation coming forward, because I'm not going to live in the shadow of someone else. And this is the great encouragement of it, because the world in the way it used to work wants to conform us to a mold. And unfortunately, our education system does it too, because in
Mm.
general terms, we go to school in a particular way to be citizens of a society from 50 years ago.
Yes.
Yet because of this invisible world, it now influences our culture on a global scale. It's
Mm.
huge. And the opportunity
Mm.
is crazy.
Mm.
Yet the neurodiverse people see through it. They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And the thing is, research tells us, and believe it or not, my father's one of these researchers. I didn't even pick this up until 20 years after his research. And he picked up on it early, as amongst of other people, is when it comes to the invisible,
Mm.
how do we wrestle with that? How do we wrestle
Mm.
with that chaos? We create stories and narratives and imagination
Mm.
and pictures in our brain. I've got this strange gift. My wife hates that I've got it, but I've got it. I can see three-dimensional space in my brain. So
Oh,
I can
wow.
turn objects in my head. I can see things move and flow as if you're in a 3D CAD drawing software watching water flow through a model. My brain can
Wow.
just do that. And
Wow.
so I always know where north is. It's right there.
Oh,
And
wow.
so it's an amazing skill that you've got, but all of us have these different ways that our
Mm.
interests and excitements come into the equation. And
Yes.
it's like, well, use those passions, because
Mm.
every time we get excited and enjoy something, we're going to
Yes.
do better at it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so when we couple all those things together, that really sets neurodiverse people up for great success. Because what do we love? We love Dungeons
Mm.
and Dragons, storytelling. We love our sci-fis, our Doctor Who, our Star Trek.
Mm.
We
Mhm.
love storytelling in movies, in books, in everything that we do. How many times have we gone into a meeting and told too big a story to get a point across?
Yes, I love that. I love your reference to Dungeons and Dragons, because last week we had Luke on one of these divergent discussions talking about the tabletop games and role playing games and how useful they are in supporting communication, in supporting social development, and all of that. So, yeah, very, very cool. I know you've touched a little bit there on strengths, and because without saying that word, what you've talked about there is the strengths. And I guess I'm curious, like you and I have had these conversations in our hangouts and separately, is, what does leaning into strengths day to day look like, especially when you don't fit the mold? So, we've talked a lot about trying to help the community, the Kaboose community, tap into
Mm.
strengths. What does it look like?
It appears in a whole range of different ways, and some of them can be really painful.
Mm.
Yep. One part of it is don't fit in, don't try to. One of the great things we have now in a globalized world, and how great is Caboose for this, is that you can actually be around the people like you and talk with them more accessibly and readily than ever before. There's
Mm.
probably about 3 key moments over the past 30 years where what I've done is, because of my learning and growth and desires to head in a particular direction, I've had to set certain networks aside and said, I'm going to do that new, because I
Yep.
need to have the people around me that will champion me. And that hurts when those moments come up.
Mm.
In those
Mm.
same time where you've got career shifts. And not to say that it's easy. I don't think I
Mm.
want anyone to ever hear that any of this is easy. This is
No.
tremendously hard and exhaustive. I've got this beautiful friend. He's nearly 60 and he has had 5 different jobs. And he's
Mm.
been in this wonderful place, though, that he was curious enough to try something he thought he might be willing to have a go at, struggle, realize that it wasn't for him, listen to that feedback from employers to go, maybe this isn't for you.
Mm.
And for the past 15 years, he's been now working in aged care, and the smile that is across his face. Wow. It
Yeah.
is so great to see that in him and to see
Mm.
him drive that forward in his life. Yet
Mm.
at the same time, though, for us, a lot of times, especially for the hyper curious, let's call it that, where you why is almost everything, where a lot of normal people, if you will, maybe need 6 jigsaw piece puzzles to make a concept come to life. If you got to imagine a jigsaw puzzle that only needs 6 pieces and they've got it assembled. Yet often for us, that's not the case, because usually it will take about 20 pieces to come together to make a complete jigsaw puzzle for us to go, of course, and it lines everything up the way it is. Now,
Mm.
bit of a thoughtful place, because some people go, you're overstepping your boundaries trying to figure out too much. I need you to just do something. At the same time, though, this is an extraordinarily powerful thing to do, because sometimes you might just go, okay, I'm just going to let it go for a moment, let them have the 6 that they need. I'll find the rest somewhere else, and then come back and clarify. But because we're just straight talkers, so
Mm.
we're only trying to collect that information and bring that reasoning together so that we can
Mm.
have a clear picture of where we're going. And the trouble is that normal person couldn't lead us,
Mm.
because they couldn't give us enough information to lead us in the direction they wanted us to go. And so
Mm.
this is why neurodiverse leaders are desperately needed. But because of those extra 20 people, it isn't about doing someone else's job. And however, what it does do, though, is go, not only do I understand now where I'm going and where they wanted me to go and why that's important and why it matters,
Mm.
but now I can strategically do so much more with that understanding. So
Mm.
you can see between the lines and go,
Mm.
guys, I know you wanted to head that direction, but if we do, it's going to now do this, this, and this. Are you sure you want to do that?
Mm.
Or you can go, hang on a minute, I see a problem coming and I know now how to deal with them. So you can lead
Mhm.
someone to that and go, that's probably going to be an issue. Go and
Mm.
find someone a resource or sort that out, or find
Mm.
solutions. Or to that end,
Mm.
go, hang on a minute, it's the illusion of limited resources kicks in. So a lot of people in the room will sit there and go, we don't know what to do next. And how cool is this? You've already worked out most of it. So all you've got to
Mm.
do is go, my brain's kind of worked out this weird proof of concept that's amazing right now. So how about you try this, 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 and this, and just see if it works?
Mm.
Just because it was already here and you'd already worked it out. It's not to
Mm.
say that you're
Experimenting.
going to go and do that work or do that thing,
Yes.
you know, because that's micromanaging and doing other people's work for them or doing that kind of stuff. That's a
Yeah.
completely different problem. Yet it gives you that tremendous, powerful insight to
Mm.
just see so much more and to see forward so much more through that.
Mm.
So that's where you can go and collect that information or collect that
Yeah.
insight and do more with
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Don't just do one
Yeah.
thing, do 10.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I think that, yeah, again, this common word, be curious. Be curious about these strengths. Be curious about, experimenting with things, look at the puzzle pieces, and hopefully you're working with somebody who can help you tap into that too. So you've said that chaos, can, you know, basically, you know, shape you. It can also crush you, you know, but how do neurodivergent leaders turn chaos into creativity? Sort of, I guess, a bit down the lines of what you just were talking about. But what
Yeah.
what tips have you got for us?
The thing is, that there's a couple of things I always say to people you can always bank on in life. You can
Mm.
always bank on death,
Yes,
taxes, and change.
yes, true.
And the funny thing about all of those things, though, is that of all the things that we do with chaos, it's all about change.
Mm.
And in this digital, emotional world where all this invisible stuff controls everything, it becomes chaotic because there's all these transactional and not necessarily strategic things going on. There's moments where what worked one day doesn't work the next, where someone thought, you know, something or said something in a meeting and it was funny, you say the same thing in the next meeting and it went down like a lead fart. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, nothing's consistent.
Mm.
Yet this is one of the really cool things about it though, because for someone like myself who's mostly unmedicated, in my treatment though, is I get my executive function organized because of all the
Mm.
things that I can control. I can't control anything outside myself.
Mm.
I actually can't. And so we have this illusion that somehow goes, yeah, okay, I've got my Lego. I know that on my Rubik's Cube here, I can turn that. And I feel like that's a sense of control. But I could only turn that if it allowed me to, if it was designed
Mm.
to. So that's not really me controlling anything. That's just my influence then on something else. But what I can control was my hand, turn that thing.
Mm.
That's what I can control. So at the end of the day, we kind of look at things and go, hang on, the things that are within my control are actually me.
Mm.
It's my response to things. It's my actions that I take. It's the thoughts that I have. It's the way that I treat people. It's the way that I go about doing my work. They're the things that we can actually control.
Yeah.
And so one of the really cool things about starting to look at that and think about things like executive function and someone like myself, where what I desperately need is ongoing dopamine hits all the time.
Mm. Mhm.
And I'm not kidding. My focus is terrible.
So
My,
how do you maintain it? How do you
well,
maintain it?
for me, I'm a postmodernist in this sense. And I think that's a fairly good view because it's a lot of this is experiential. And
Yeah.
that curiosity in the world to jump into things means that
Mm.
we have to try and experience something as well as hear about it.
Yeah.
And some people would say maybe that's converting it to wisdom. And so with that, I
It's
turn
true.
around and I create a half-hour schedule for myself,
Yeah.
chasing
Okay.
dopamine all day. I do
Mm.
fun things first,
Yeah.
couple of fun things, then a boring thing. Couple of fun
Okay.
things, then a boring thing. Keep it short.
Yeah.
Look at when I've been laboring too hard. For myself, one of the biggest traps I get into all the time, hyperfocus. Because if
Yeah.
it's really big fun, I can go for hours and suffer time blindness if I'm not careful. I've got timers and things to break my attention.
Yes. Oh,
Yet,
show us one of your timers. I know you've
oh
showed
yeah,
me
this is one of
before.
my
It's
favorite ones.
great.
This is my little dinosaur.
Yes. Yep.
He's a
Love
good
that
little bloke.
one. Yep.
And then I've got my phone as well. That's the one I keep on. It's got a mechanical bell. It really breaks the
Oh,
attention. Unlike a phone,
okay.
it doesn't do quite as good
Which
job.
you can, where you can pause very quickly, can't you? The
Yeah.
phone, it's like pause.
Hmm. With that, we can then, for myself, I go, okay, but this is where I get caught in traps and I still get caught in traps today.
Mm.
Because when you get into really high priority, really high important things that are also really fun,
Mm.
they are exhausting.
Yeah.
Absolutely exhausting because your brain did so much great stuff and you can't do anything else. And
Yep.
I hate to be one
Hence
of those
the
people that's going to
time
say
blocking.
this, exercise, it makes a difference.
It does.
um, I for so many years, I was one of those people that saw those other people going, exercise, really? But I've had to make it a part of my life, both for health reasons and for my mental
Mm.
health of keeping all that done and what a difference it actually makes.
Yeah. That's
Yet
awesome.
it's that self-control coming into the equation to do the best that we can do.
Mm.
I'm still going to have these problems in 20 years from now.
You're still going to be Mike, though.
Still
So
going to be
that's good.
Mike, and I'm still going to make the best effort. And you see, that's one of the great things about humans and these whole things, because
Mm.
everyone that I've ever met always wants to do great things for the world, great things for each other. Almost no one is intentionally malicious.
Yeah.
And so that's just cool because you can just go sort of into situations and go, okay, I don't understand necessarily what's going on, but we're here for something important and good.
Mm.
And that's one of those great things that being human inside and having that, extra layers in there.
Mm.
We might say something, not intending someone to have a particular reaction the way that they do.
Yeah.
Yet when we build that empathy, build that view from other people's points
Mm.
and continue being curious, about it, because that allows us to see things differently.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute, I like learning. It took me a
Yeah.
very, very long time, Michelle, to learn. So
Even though
throughout my
you,
entire schooling career and high
yeah.
school, primary school, you name it, I was one of those people that would have my feet up, sitting in the back of the classroom doing nothing except playing up, because none of the work challenged me.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I
Interesting.
started to step up to some of that challenging work, I couldn't connect that work to anything practical. So I went from into 2-unit maths for year 12 or year 11 and started to introduce imaginary numbers and quadratics. And in my world, and for now, what I now know is in my learning styles, there's no way in the world I was going to get that. So I never finished it. I just swapped back
Yeah.
the ordinary maths
Right.
and just, got in the top 10% off of the state without even lifting a
Mm.
finger. And so my experience of
You
learning at
sound
that
like my
point,
daughter.
so yeah, I would never study. Assignments were always done at the 11th hour with 1 hour to spare, and I would still get distinctions. And, for some of the things that were harder, like writing or English
Mm.
subjects, I just
Mm.
didn't care. But it was
Yeah.
enough to get a 60%.
Yeah.
The things that were more natural to me that I didn't have to pay any attention to, I always did really, really well at, and without any effort. But that not care factor, even for English, still applied. I was still enough to get by. Yet when I moved from school into tech trades, wow,
Yeah.
everything just really changed. It's like, oh, hang on a
Mm.
minute. I'm finding things I want to learn and grow with. And then
Mm.
as I continue that journey, my entire life has just followed that same trajectory. Find the things I want to learn and grow with.
Yeah.
I can't stay still. For me, and this isn't going to be the same for everybody, is that
Mm.
I really can't do a job for long. I'll do
Mm.
it for 2 or 3 years, and the
Yeah.
repetitiveness, I kind of lose it, and I jump into the next thing. And then over the, past 10, 15 years, picking up my research and my book and all those different things, it's built a natural learning and development path where I've been able to shape that trait in me into
Mm.
something that just consistently moves forward
Yeah.
and
So
brings
you've
great things to the
managed to,
people around me
yeah.
and to the world.
Great.
And so that's been really, really exciting. It's not going to be the same for everybody in that sense of things.
No.
But
No.
when we start to self reflect, which is one of the greatest skills that we can have, we can collect that information to again use that from other people's points of view. So
Mm.
if we're in situations, we can go, oh, that person said that person did that equipment did this, and it should have done that, or I can see that maintenance over there. And by
Mm.
using our skill to learn, using those things, we can then go, oh, hang on a minute, there's more perspectives that are going on out there. And
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
really
Interesting.
awesome that we can do that.
I love it. Tell me, many, and you and I have had this conversation with others on Hangouts as well, but many doubt their ability to lead, particularly neurodivergent people doubt their ability to lead. What would you say, to someone who doesn't see themselves as a leader?
Yeah. This is a really great question, because I speak to so many people every week, and nearly every single time you speak to somebody about leadership, they
Mm.
talk about their middle managers and how rubbish they are.
Yes.
And you talk about how they get treated, the human element in there.
Mm.
Yet there is something that we misunderstand about what leadership is. Because
Mm.
leadership isn't about becoming a middle manager.
Mm.
Yet I'm not completely surprised why, when I say the word leadership to them, they think about their managers that they've had over the years that are terrible.
Mhm.
Because we've been telling everybody that to have a leadership career or to have a desire to be a leader is to become one of those people that you already hate.
A manager.
And who wants that? But the thing is, we misunderstand that leadership and management are two different skills,
Hmm.
are two
Very.
different skills. And what's unique about leadership is that it's a voluntary thing. There isn't really a career path for it, because in general terms, no one steps up to it unless you're bold enough to.
Mm.
If you see something and you want to create change, you want to create influence, and you don't do something about it, no one's going to invite you to do it.
Mm.
Like, seriously, no one will. If you want to be a manager, on the other hand, for whatever it is, because you can be a manager of people and help care for
Hmm.
people in a beautiful way. That's what you do yourself does, Michelle. Or you
Yes.
can be a manager of some tech or some machinery and help a team maintain it and make it
Mm.
run smoothly. Management is all about that.
Yeah.
It's all about keeping everything running smoothly, having the
Mm.
insight to make sure that the machine keeps moving every single day. And that's a beautiful skill.
It
Yet we
is.
can't equate that the same, because leadership and management don't always go together, and they can also
No.
have different weightings of how important they are,
Yeah. They
or the
can.
balance between it. So often we try to merge the two a lot. Yet this is something we see in the IT industry really, really well, because
Mm.
we know that, and we've solved this problem in the IT sector. This is the great thing about the IT guys. They've solved a lot of the digital problems that the rest of the world doesn't know have been solved.
Mm.
Because what they do is they go, listen, Doug over there is brilliant at this particular type of technology. He understands it really well. He knows how to shape it. He knows where it's going to go. He knows
Mm.
how to go, I need 10 people to make that work.
Mm.
And he'll shape those 10 people for how they do their work every day. Yet he probably may struggle on the human empathy side of it, or what it is to have the emotions of a team involved in that.
Mm.
And so in the tech sector, we've turned around and gone, that's fine. Be great at that. I'm going to bring someone alongside you and help you with that.
Yeah.
And you can bounce off each other to get that right. Solved right there. Yet traditionally, we don't solve it that way. Traditionally,
No.
we've told, if you want to go up, you've got to do it all together at once. And I won't go into, that's a really big journey on why that
Well,
doesn't work. But
we
if
can
we
have
go
a whole
back
session
to,
on that, Mike.
exactly. Yet if we go to the leadership, what is leadership all about? Leadership is all about horizon gazing. It's about looking at the future. What do neurodiverse people do? They see between their lines. They can see what's coming from a miles away and not be surprised,
Hmm.
which also means you're
Yeah.
surprisingly resilient.
It's so true.
And with that horizon gazing, you can go, I can now direct where something needs to go. I can now create a vision for where we're going. And then I'm going to bring resources in to help that come to life.
Mm.
And so leadership is all about that. It's about creating influence. It's about knowing where we're going. It's about being confident enough to do that. And the whole thing
Mm.
is, neurodiverse people are surprisingly confident.
Exactly.
Often it can be hidden different hobbies or something to that effect. But if you put someone into a dungeon master role,
Mm.
leadership 101 right there, be a DM.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's brilliant. And we love it. We love being a
Yeah.
DM. I do. In my party, we sit there and swap between people on who's going to be DM.
Love it. Yeah.
But that,
I think
I
that's
think, is
it.
the difference, though, because no one's going to invite you into leadership. So you've got to step up into it. And so it's having that curiosity to learn. It's having that curiosity to go, I can see that there's something better,
Mm.
and I'm going to step into that, and I'm going to make that choice to do it. That's not to say it's easy to do. And there's fraught with navigations and other people's
Mm.
emotions and what it is to, maintain boundaries and do things like not doing the work for others. And, work at level is what I call it, because, leadership does happen at different levels in different kinds of
Mm.
ways. So myself, I've been a C-suite, I've been a chief technology officer, and the leadership that happens there is completely different to the leadership that happens as a team leader.
Mm.
And, in that particular instance, it was also different to a particular technology that I had
Mm.
or that was coming into the organization. So that's where I call is leadership at different level, and you grow into it and you start to learn all those other different elements that really come into the equation. But let me
Mm.
tell you, we need leaders more than ever before, because if we don't have great people doing this thing, we end up with people with mediocre skill sets flailing
Mm.
or playing some other game or politics or power moves or something to that effect that not necessarily make things great.
Mm.
And what's one of the great skills that we have? We want to make things great.
Yeah. Problem
We can
solvers.
see that stuff that other people just aren't seeing.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, we're going to have to curb that enthusiasm to make it happen tomorrow.
Yes. If
And it'll
only.
take some time to get everybody else to come along with you. Yet the great thing is it's learned. It's a learned skill and it can totally be done. And it's both hard and not hard at the same time.
Mm.
And so I've had some people come up to me and go, Mike, when you wrote this in the book, I could totally see that happening in my own world. I now know why you wrote it. And so there are a few things in there where because I actually target 3 kinds of levels of leadership in there, where I've got target team leader level, middle management and senior leader. Because there's different skills that you need in different places. So I expose everybody to it. Yet I had this wonderful guy from Air Services Australia talking to me and he goes, Mike, know why you said that. And that's where I've been, talking about politics at that higher level. Because unfortunately, when you start really working up through the leadership chain, you start to, execute that role like a game of chess. And you know what we're really good at? Playing chess.
Well, some people. I'm not sure I am, Mike, but
Oh,
I
you'd
think
be
that
surprised,
it
Michelle.
is.
Don't sell yourself short.
I think so much gold in that. I think, so many things I go, yes, leadership can be done at any level to start with. I always say that you can be a leader no matter what role you're doing.
Even at home in your family.
Correct. Yeah. So it's great, great to sort of practice those skills. And I also think you could be a good manager of things, even manager of a process or a machine, as you say, anything. You can manage stuff, but you might not be a great leader. And that's okay. But
Yeah.
as you say, supplement that with.
Oh, it's fantastic. You can have some wonderful leaders in an organization that have built their team out of these amazing managers. And they've taught their managers to have the amazing empathy and insight and directness to get on with objectives rather than just wasting time. In this day and age, with the economy the way it is, objective-based work is the best work ever. We don't just sit around doing busy work as resources. It's just wasting time
Yes.
for no productive outcome. And so they have to build these productive, engaging teams, and they'll build people who are managers because exactly like you just said, they don't necessarily have the acumen to be a leader. And that's fine. Everybody's different. Yet they have this wonderful insight to go, hang on a minute, I can make this thing really sing. They understand processes beautifully. So you sit there with Loom and make a standard operating process, and they know exactly how to make that happen and how to improve it and how to go, hang on a minute, I've just had a brainwave on how I can prove that and take a step out of the process. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a question from one of our audience members, Ania. How do you step into that without feeling like an imposter? A great question, because as you said, we only learn what we are passionate about. We can learn so much these days without going to uni. Our knowledge might be so much greater than someone who has multiple degrees, absolutely. But without all those titles, so many people feel like imposters. Absolutely.
Yeah. Imposters, I do suffer imposter syndrome all the time. And RSD is a real thing.
Agree.
And so take that on and go, yeah, I know what you're saying. Hey. Now, the thing is, there's some wonderful ways that you can do it because you can see the opportunity. And the thing is, the most powerful tool that you can do is ask grounded questions. And what that means is that you ask to be invited in. You ask the questions that will make someone else think in the way that you were thinking about. And they'll go, oh, I hadn't thought about it like that. Maybe I should think about that. Influence. And then you shape the questions based on the direction that took you on. Oh, I
Mm.
noticed this was happening in this process. If this was to happen and this was to happen, what might be the risk attached to that?
Mm.
And when we lead someone by asking grounded questions, we're helping them succeed.
Yeah.
If we project onto somebody else, we'll be always seen as steamrolling. Tip for
Mm.
always make someone else great. It makes it
It's
so
true.
much easier. And especially if you make it your superiors. Now think about what your boss needs to succeed tomorrow. Think about what his
Mm.
boss needs to succeed next month. Make that
Mm.
easy because you've got the skill already there to do it. You're already seeing it.
Mm.
So make that happen because we're doers. Get on with it.
I think
But
the other
the thing in that though, when we do that though, is that we're asking for permission. And that's what helps with the imposter syndrome because you won't get ignored because someone will have to come back and go, that's an important thought. I'll take that on board and I'll come back to you. Or they'll go, I've actually already thought about that. I can't talk to you about it right now, but it's already been taken care of. Because we don't always get exposed to
Mm.
the entire equation.
Mm.
There's always information missing everywhere because there's confidential things, there's finance things that we just can't know. There's
Mm.
all these parts that we'll never know, or there'll be legal issues somewhere, or there'll be some sort of other matter or something that's influencing the whole process that you're not allowed to be involved in. That happens.
Mm.
It's
Mhm.
the reason why we have child protection laws,
Mm.
because we're caring for each other in a different kind of way. Yet when you do that, though, you're asking permission to come into someone else's world.
Mm.
If I was to go to you and go, oh, hey, Michelle, I noticed this in the neuro nuggets didn't work well. How about you do this, 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 and this?
Yeah.
Yes, you were great at seeing it. You could see a direction or whatnot, but you're not necessarily jumping in
Mm.
to help.
Mm.
You're kind of just projecting over your boundary.
Mm.
But if I was
Yeah.
to say to you, hey, Michelle, I really noticed this really cool thing in the nuggets the other day, and I really thought this could be a great idea to just do this one small thing. What do you think?
Yeah.
And,
Great.
and straight away, you got the same goal reached. You just approached it a different way.
Mm.
And so when you start getting those positive responses from people, it's not always positive, but you at least know that helps
True.
us have the confidence to know what's going
Mm.
on. Nearly
Yeah.
everything that we do is always volunteered somewhere or another, whether it be volunteering to be involved in a project. Oh,
Mm.
one of the things I do all the time, oh, we need to do a network upgrade on the weekend. Can I just come and help?
Mm.
Just by being
Yeah.
with people, they get to know me, they get to see those things, and I get tremendous experience for nothing.
Mm.
They didn't pay
Yeah.
anything either because I just volunteered my time and my curiosity and growth continues.
Mm.
Then I can see how other people are doing those things. And
Yeah.
you couple that, and what's that creating? Experience and that spirit of having a go. And so
Yeah.
when you look at those things, that helps you with the imposter syndrome and it gives you that feedback that you're looking for actually. So you're
Mm.
not ruminating anymore because you're getting the answers,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you go, hang on a minute, I did bring something great, or I did raise something great and they'd already thought about it. Great. That's good too.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
that really does help us with that imposter syndrome in that sense of things. And then you couple that with telling yourself the truth.
Yeah.
Because our imposter syndrome wants to say to us, you're shite. It
Mm.
wants to say, you're no good. And there are times where you'll get to a point where you're going to have to say, those people who tell me those things aren't worth having in my world anymore, whether it be my workplace or the job that I've currently got or my networking businesses or my friends, whatever the case might be, and to go to the people that do get it.
Mm.
And all of a sudden you start to go, oh, hang on a minute, there's more people in a different place that understand me. I've been laboring in a different echo chamber, the feedback coming at me, telling me I'm bad. But like you just said, I've got all these degrees, I've got all these other things and these other indicators that tell me how hard I've been working in my life and making great things happen.
Mm.
And I've also put myself in a scenario where the outside influences aren't helping me either.
Yeah.
And how cool is it that we can do all these things now? Because we can move that gently and go, I want to be in that place. And those are really practical things that we can do that help with that imposter syndrome. I don't think imposter
Yeah.
syndrome ever will go away for us. Yet I
No.
think we'll have that more confidence, that resilience, that ability to have more grit to cope with it. I'm reminded of the Stockdale principle, if you've ever heard of that, because I think generally a lot of us have this wonderful optimism. And the Stockdale paradox tells us that we want to be optimistic enough to not be affected by the reality of the situation at hand. So
Mm.
blind optimism
Mm.
goes, yeah, it's going to be fine. And then in 20 years, it never happens. And that crushes us.
Mhm.
Negative, oh, I can't do it. It crushes us as bad and we get all depressed. And it's just like, oh,
Mm.
yeah, I could try that thing, but I don't really know.
Mm.
Yet when we sort of go into it and go, I've got an idea, I'm going to try it out. I've been curious. I've done some proof of concepts. I've tried out some basic stuff. I'm going to start going in that direction and
Mm.
say, it's not going to be perfect.
Mm.
I'll have a go nonetheless. It might work out, it might not. So you can still have
Mhm.
that balance of going, I'm going to prevail one way or another. Let's have a go. And that really helps us here thinking about things in that kind of way.
Great advice. I do think that telling yourself the truth it's a good one, but a hard one. So
Yeah.
yes.
And the trouble with it, Michelle, is because it's hard, it also means it's not going to get fixed tomorrow. And it
Yeah,
doesn't mean that
correct.
the first thing you try is going to work.
Yes.
And so that truth telling comes into the equation and goes, I can fail. And it's going to be okay because the moment that I'm living right now is not going to be any different for trying.
Mhm. Yeah. So we're coming close to
Cool.
the end of our discussion already. I know time has flown, but what's one thing you hope neurodivergent people will take away from this conversation about embracing their strengths?
I'd like people to know that the opportunity is there. And my hope is that you will feel a great courage and desire because of that
Mm.
courage to go, I can have a go too.
Mm. Mhm.
And if anything, of one of the things that I did when I wrote my book is I said to myself, if I didn't have to do it the hard way again, how can I make it easier for another me to do it?
Mm. Yeah.
And so I would say to people, don't make the mistakes I've made.
Mm.
Now, you're going to make some mistakes, but that
Yes.
curiosity allows us to go, hang on a minute, I'm going to pick up Mike's book. I'm going to go
Yeah.
and Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or any
Mhm.
other huge array of neuro nuggets that we have and
Mm.
go do something about it because we can't have an illusion that there's a limited amount of resources.
Mhm.
We can't know everything. In the chaos and uncertainty of everything, we literally can't know everything. So
No.
there's an answer somewhere.
There
Whether
is,
it's the answer we're
for sure.
prepared for or not, that's a different thing. But my hope is that you can feel some courage and desire to go, listen, I did notice that cool thing and I want to shape that for a better tomorrow. I'm going to
Yes.
step up and have a go at that.
Yeah. And where, for our audience, can people get your book, Mike?
If you jump onto the website weirdisthenewnormal.net, you can buy a copy. And of course, there's some really cool things in there as well because the book is filled with Easter eggs, codes to break, and it's not linear.
Mm.
And of course, because of diversity, and believe it or not, I am not a learner by reading, although I wrote a book. Seems weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
However, what it does mean is that the audiobook's available everywhere. So Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and the ebook,
Perfect.
the Kindle, and everything across all platforms. It's all there all the time.
Perfect. Perfect. And you will see Mike featuring in the Kaboose Neuro Nuggets soon. And so you can see those now available in the app. So you can head there. Mike, just a bit of a light personal question to wrap up. You mentioned the Lego, and I know You showed me a little Lego man just before the call. If you could build anything out of Lego right now, what would that be?
This is a tough one. I do like Lego a lot. For everyone else, this is Arcanus, the protagonist in my book. And my wife had him made with Arcanus printed on the back. It's a beautiful custom minifig.
Amazing.
But I'm a car person. I build cars, fabricate and build all that myself. That's a Bugatti Veyron just there. I would love a Lego version of my rally car. So I've got an Super Impreza rally car, and you can't
Mhm.
get that in Lego. Mine's so unique, of course. It doesn't look like a normal Impreza anyway. But I think that would be so cool. Our own car that we drive every day. How rad would that be in Lego?
Mm,
Well,
very
actually, I
cool.
can't drive the rally car every day. I should clarify that. I can only drive it in special circumstances.
I built a combi, which is up there on the shelf during COVID.
That is
And
a really good model. And
should I
the
show
new
it to
Star
you?
Trek Next Generation set has just come out too at the end of November.
Let me show you my little combi. Yeah,
Very classic combi. That's wonderful. Yeah.
very classic. Mm. Yes, I don't really get time to do much Lego these days. So between cars, tech, and leadership, which one would you say brings you the most joy, and maybe the one that brings you the most chaos or causes the most chaos?
Oh, they're all very chaotic. They really are. I think one of the things that's a really big hallmark on my life is leaning into that chaos, even with the fatigue that it creates. Uh,
Mm,
because there is going to be some way that I'm going to prevail. So I didn't mention earlier other things I've got like dysautonomia, which means that things like fatigue really hurt me hard. And every day means that I can't actually do as much. And so, but if I don't lean into it, of all those things I want to do, I want to be doing the things that bring me joy every day. And so, in the work that we do, and in my experience, I just generally find that
mm,
taking those moments to be passionate about what we love and do are great.
mm,
And to choose the
mm.
ones that can help us on our income, because you don't also want to burn out on an interest. If if you love craft and then make a business out of craft, guess what? You're going to start to hate craft. Yeah, we live in a world where freelancing is actually the next big thing. It's already been a hallmark, huge big shift in the marketplace around that. So choosing those wonderful things, because I really can't make it in my brain, Michelle, a difference, honestly. And so I look at those options you just gave me and I go, oh, I just want to do them all.
One of each. Thank you very much.
That's probably my ADHD.
Amazing. Well, we are at time. So thank you so much, Mike, for
Welcome, thanks.
sharing your time with us, and for everyone who joined us today and watching the replay later. You'll see we have a number of other Divergent discussions coming up. One this week with Eric Garcia on autism, identity, and advocacy. And so you can get those tickets through Kaboose, Humanitics, or the website. So check those out. And Rox is busy scheduling our next batch this week as well. So you'll see a few more coming up before the end of the year. Thank you again, Mike, for joining us.
Thank you.